Hi, I'm Anna Niemira of BGX Capital, and we are here live at Fintech and Funding Conference 2018, hosted by NCFA. And here we are with Kasem Frank of Nuco.
Hi,
Welcome.
Anna.
Nice to see you here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for
Enjoying
having
the
me.
conference.
Fantastic.
Thank you for speaking at the conference as well.
My pleasure.
And Nuco, tell me about the company briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. We started about 2 years ago on a very simple premise, actually. The premise was blockchain is such a powerful fabric. What could it do in the context of revolutionizing, transforming literally current day businesses? What can we recast to fit better on a fabric that we obviously very strongly believe needs to power more applications, more functionalities that drive our everyday lives. We started 2 years ago. It's been phenomenal so far. It's been very much a quest of really explaining to people why the mindset needs to change. A lot of people think that the biggest challenges for the industry are technology based. I actually don't think that's the case. I actually think that the biggest change that we need to facilitate, all of us, is how do we think about a shared ledger? How do we think about not having proprietary data rather than sharing it with our peers, colleagues, and sometimes competitors? But it's been, I would say, not the easiest of routes, but we definitely have a lot of track record to show for it.
So you're thinking it's not just about applying the technology, it's about changing people's mentality to understand it. And then when they understand it, they can properly apply it as well, right?
That's exactly right. I'm a fan of archaeology, and they found, this is last year, they found one of those urns in a cave in middle of Israel, and it's literally 4,000 years old. And they open it, and what do they have on this thing that somebody hid so well? It actually preserved for 4,000 years. They have a ledger. It literally says, I own such and such. I think it was like urns of wine. The concept of ownership and the concept of how we prove ownership is something that went with human society since there was a human society. So it's very much a mindset change about how do we approach this problem differently? What does technology actually allows us to do to solve for the same kind of challenge that we've always had?
Is blockchain the future?
Blockchain is the future. When you look at just the core tenets of what the technology does, it is more transparent. It is much more accessible by anyone. It is borderless and limitless. From an ideology perspective, I truly believe that we need to have much more of what we do every day to be on the back end of a blockchain. It's just a way that makes more sense to me as a person, I guess.
Yes, well, that's very interesting. But there's a lot of people who love blockchain.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who question blockchain.
Right.
They saying there are certain deficiencies. So is it for us right now, nowadays, to accept the blockchain as it is, yet acknowledging that, yes, we have certain deficiencies in the system and we have to work? And what kind of the deficiencies are the most urgent we're supposed to work on and have it solved?
Yeah, that's a great question. If we think of blockchains in generations, then obviously, it all started with Bitcoin, very much by default generation 0 or maybe gen 1. After Bitcoin, we had all these other altcoins, right? Like I could do Bitcoin better than Bitcoin kind of a conversation. And they proliferated, but they didn't really catch up until we had Ethereum. And the reason that Ethereum is truly the Gen 2 of blockchain is for a very simple logic. For a very simple reason. It did something that wasn't achievable before. It actually brought on board logic, smart contracts to a blockchain. The question is now, what is still missing? And I would say that very much our worldview is the concept of interoperability. How different fabrics, how different stacks can actually coexist. When you think about it, when we had Bitcoin and even Ethereum to a degree, it was always about the blockchain, single.
Yes.
We know this is not how the industry is being built. You have phenomenal products and phenomenal different networks that are good for different functionalities. The question in my mind is, how do we actually bridge all of these different disparate networks? So back to your question, I would say interoperability is probably the biggest technical challenge that our community needs to solve for.
That's great. Well, the only thing we can do right now in 2018 is just to pull our sleeves up and work up on
Absolutely.
it, right? Well, Kasem, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and
Thank you.
fantastic to have you here.
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me, Anna.
Yes,
A pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks.